Howdy gamers, in this video I'm going to be going over the runes for Shen top and support. I thought I had done the runes for every single champion, but I guess I just skipped Shen. So I think Shen should be played top lane for the most part. He still has his place as support, but he's lost a lot of his value as support coming into Season 10 as most of the tank supports have kind of fallen off. But in the top lane, I think that he's not doing so bad. Everything kind of works out a bit better for him. And the runes that he can run in the top lane are just more impactful than the support runes. But as support, it's not bad. But I do think that top lane is his primary role. For the keystones for top lane, I think that really your only option is going to be Grasp of the Undying. Things like Conquer and Aftershock don't really function as well as with how Shen's kit works as Grasp of the Undying does, because Shen really does need that trading tool to be potent in the top lane and to really combat the like meta top lanes right now, as they just are going to be coming into the lane with more damage. And Shen has like a unique dynamic in which he has a better trading pattern than they can have if he takes short trades against them. And if he's leading those with the E, then even better. Something like Aftershock could maybe help you dive the enemy top laner with your jungler. That could be a thing, but if you're going to dive, it's probably going to happen with or without Aftershock. And if you're running Aftershock, you're kind of like a bad version of Volibear at that point, as you're just missing out on the trading tool that's offered in Grasp of the Undying. And if you don't dive the enemy top laner, I don't see a whole lot of value in it. And you also have to land the taunt to proc it. So if you're missing that, then you're out of a keystone. It really does suck. With something like Conquer, I think that it's just not as good on Shen, because, like, oddly enough, if you look at Shen's abilities, there's not an AD ratio to be found. So yes, you can build up a lot of AD with Conquer, but this is per 100 ability power, bonus health, ability power, etc. So to build up Conquer on Shen is so low value, unfortunately. It would be a really strong rune on him if everything scaled with attack damage on him, but it just doesn't. So with that, this whole page becomes a lot more lackluster than not. So with Grasp being his primary page, I think that Grasp is the best because it just gives you so much trading power. With Shen specifically, even if you're just taking your Q auto trade, that's pretty good. You deal pretty significant amount of damage with that, and then if the enemy chooses to trade onto you once your Q is down, your E and your W and your Grasp is going to allow you to continue to trade with them, even though your Q would be down, which is your primary damage. So with the Grasp, you could have your initial trade be stronger. You could have your turning trade onto the enemy be stronger whenever they go onto you, because your cooldowns are down. And then with that HP gain from the second Grasp trade, you just buy time to have more HP to play with if you were to choose to pursue the enemy once your Q is back up. So there's a lot of power in this rune, and it also adds to Shen's mixed damage, where he deals a lot of magic damage and a lot of physical damage, making it very hard to itemize against him, especially with his itemization, where he could build Balmy Cinder, adding more magic damage to the mix, or Tiamat adding more attack damage to the mix. He's really unique in that sense. So with Grasp of Undying, every 4 seconds in combat, your next basic attack on a champion will deal bonus magic damage equal to 4% of your max health, which goes hand in hand with how Shen's kit wants to function, is just build more HP and deal more damage because you have more HP. You heal for 2% of your max health, which is really strong as well, and then permanently increase your health by 5, which is really strong as well, because Shen wants to be proccing this a lot, and you want to be picking Shen into the matchups where you could proc it a lot, which is going to be melee matchups. If you're into ranged matchups, maybe you could make an argument for Aftershock, but it would still be, you're probably just losing those matchups anyways. And then once they would even out or whatnot, Grasp would still probably be better. So with Grasp, again, just adds damage, gives you a bit of sustain, but the trading impact that you have with it is the most important part, and really pay attention to that whenever you're playing him in lane and then trading in lane. For the third runes here, they're all pretty good options. Demolish giving you more damage to turrets. Font of Life providing more HP to your team whenever you would slow or CC an enemy. So it's an okay option, but with Shield Bash, it's going to be your most effective option basically all the time. With Shield Bash, when you're shielded, you gain 1 to 10 armored magic resist based on your level, so a pretty negligible amount, but it is something. And then whenever you gain a shield, your next basic attack deals bonus damage based on your level, bonus health, and the value of the shield in adaptive damage. So that also is adding to your mix damage. And shield bash in combination with grasp, Shen's one of the few champions that can actually use this combination, and it's really, really effective on him, and is really all that Shen has going for him in terms of runes and in general. So you should look to abuse it and trade hard onto the enemy with both of these. Speaking of trading with these third runes, you're really choosing how you gain durability. Conditioning, you gain 9 armored magic resist at 12 minutes. It's probably your worst option. Second wind, after you take damage from an enemy champion, you heal for 4% of your missing health, plus 6 over 10 seconds. This is for poke lanes, and it could also be against melee lanes that have poke abilities. So champions like Ornn, Rumble, Mordekaiser, etc. Second wind's still going to be really good against those champions. And then bone plating, after you take damage from an enemy champion, the next 3 spells or attacks you receive from them deal 30 to 60 less. And then this is on a 45-second cooldown. Second wind is effectively only on a 10-second cooldown, but can always be running. With bone plating, it's more effective into melee matchups because you're getting more effective HP and blocking more burst from them. So if you're attacking them, let's say you lead with an E, you're going to be blocking probably their first auto attack and then a bit of their first ability onto you. And then once they finally damaged you, you're going to be healing that with grasp as well. And then if you're taunting into 5 people, you are just blocking more damage with bone plating initially, helping you survive and then actually be useful because you are surviving. So depending on your lane matchup, you should switch up second wind and bone plating. Both are really, really good. Simply put, into ranged or poke lanes, second wind's going to be better, and then into melee lanes, bone plating is going to be best. And since Shen is, you want to be picking Shen into melee lanes, you're probably going to be running bone plating most of the time, but second wind is a really good option. So really think about your matchups and how the champion that you're playing wants to function, because second wind is really, really brutal, but so is bone plating, and it really depends on the matchup. So for the fourth rune, you have good options in Revitalize or Overgrowth. With Revitalize, heals and shields you cast or receive are 5% stronger, and then 10% stronger on targets below 40% health. So this is okay. It's kind of a bait on Shen though, because you don't need that extra healing or shielding power. It really adds not much to your ult or to your Q or to your grasp healing. Shen's kit has more to it than just those two things, and you're way better off with Overgrowth because you're getting more damage with more HP, and then you're also surviving longer with more HP, and that's going to be more useful in the long run. Shen is supportive, but very selectively, and if you're looking to like all in the supportive aspects of him, it's not as strong, especially in the top lane. So you're better off having more stats for yourself and then providing more utility by just existing longer. So with Overgrowth, it helps you do that. With Overgrowth, you absorb life essence from monsters or enemy minions that die near. Basically, whenever minions die near you, you permanently increase your maximum health, and then whenever you've absorbed 120 minions or monsters, basically just minions, you're going to gain 3.5% maximum health, and that's basically just going to give you a little over Ruby Crystal for free. So like about 190 health mid game, maybe 230 health late game, and that's pretty big for a rune. That's about 400 to 500, 600 gold value. So it's a really, really effective rune, and it's going to be giving you way more value than Revitalize, because just having more HP at the start of a fight is going to be more useful and is going to be giving you more damage and more durability, etc. You're not like an Aatrox or something. You're not Cassiopeia. You're really not healing and shielding that much. You're not Taric, Janna, etc. Champions that really use Revitalize well. So you should just look to avoid it in the top lane role, I think. For the secondary runes, for top lane, I really think that your best option is going to be Precision with Triumph and Legend Alacrity. The attack speed is really, really good on Shen. It's just really hard to buy attack speed on Shen. So to get it from the runes is probably your best bet. You're getting about a dagger with this, and that attack speed goes a long way, because if the enemy's just outranging you and you can't get the second part of your Q off, then you are just missing out on that damage. And if you're getting it off, it becomes way more impactful, and you just feel like a stronger champion because of it. With Triumph, takedowns restore 12% of your missing health and grant you additional 20 gold. Just pretty similar to all the other Resolve runes. You're just having more effective HP to play with this rune. You don't need something like Last Stand, where you could have more damage if you're lower, because Shen is going to kill champions at the exact same rate, regardless if he has this percentage damage increase or not. Even with coup de grace, like you'd be killing at the exact same rate because a lot of your damage is coming from your items and then also from your runes, and they're really small amounts of damage. So to increase them by a percentage, even if it is 11%, you were going to be killing the champion anyways with one auto or not. So that, or if the enemy's getting away with like one or two autos like during a gank, it's really just not the runes fault. It's probably the item's fault or like how the play played out or whatnot. So yeah, the other rune options I really don't think are like as significant. Like you can have cheap shot and ultimate hunter. These are okay. My problem with ultimate hunter is that you have to stack it up before it's really useful, and by the time it would be stacked up, the mid game is like come, and Shen's ults are going to, you don't need them up as often. Past like 22 minutes, everything, all the fighting really stops happening. You're just waiting for objectives to spawn, and in solo queue, you're going to be getting value out of ultimate hunter no matter what. But in general, ultimate hunter is just harder to use on Shen because you do have to stack it up by getting unique kills and assists. But Shen can do that, so it's not terrible. Cheap shot is also pretty good, giving you access to more damage whenever you slow a target. But that damage, again, just isn't going to be really making or breaking things. It is going to give you a better laning tool. But this, just like this natural, like very subtle but strong scaling options in precision, I think outweigh the domination tree. Even though the domination tree is useful. And in solo queue, if you're going to play aggressive, sure, this is fine. This is completely fine, but I do think that the precision tree is just more consistent and probably better for Shen in the long run. Yeah, with sorcery, I don't see anything really being that useful. You could have like Transcendence and Nullifying Orb. These are fine, but Shen doesn't really make good use out of the cooldown reduction because even if you have max cooldown reduction, you're probably not going to be getting 2 taunts or 2 Ws off in a fight. So lots of cooldown reduction doesn't go that far on Shen. It's really about your durability. And then having the magic damage shield is okay. But it's not crazy. With the inspiration tree, you could run magical footwear and then like cosmic insight. Kind of the same deal. The cooldown reduction isn't that useful, and you don't need to save the 300 gold on boots. Having access to the attack speed without having to buy the item is going to be way more impactful than saving 300 gold on boots. And you're going to be getting about the same amount of gold value, if not more, from Alacrity. Time Warp Tonic and Biscuits is super, super bad because you just don't have mana. I don't know why anyone would run this. It's like you could, but it's just like, why? You could even run Free Boots Time Warp Tonic. Like, yeah, you could bait someone maybe with Time Warp Tonic, but it's the same deal. Just, you don't need that laning tool because your laning's already strong enough into the melee matchups that Shen's strong into because of Shield Bash, because of Bone Plating, and because of Grasping and Dying. And your itemization can be pretty strong with Shen too. Whether you're getting like D-Shield, D-Blade, or just early Bomby Cinders and whatnot. For the shards, I think that your best bet is going to be attack speed, adaptive force, and then depending on the matchup, you obviously want to switch the resistance. Armor if you're into an AD matchup, and then magic resist if you're into an AP matchup. The attack speed, again, because the auto attack speed is really important to actually get both slices of your Q off and then actually maximize the damage versus having a bit more attack damage on every single hit, because Shen just doesn't have attack damage ratios. It's really just about getting the auto attacks off when your Q's up versus having more on-hit damage, or on-hit physical damage in the early game at least. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Shen top lane runes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If this video helped you, like, whatever, man. For support, I really don't like Shen support, but I do think it is strong. It's just that it's a really basic champion. But he has his place, and whenever he is good, I'll pick it and like really dominate because his W can be super overpowered. And then the impact that you can have with his ultimate, especially in solo queue as support, is really, really strong. So for support runes, you really don't have to change up much. It's probably just Aftershock, because you don't need the trading power with Grasp the Undying anymore in the bot lane. It's really just about whenever you engage with your E and then having the most impact through that. Even as support, I think Shield Bash would be okay, because adding to your burst damage with Shen is pretty important, because Aftershock's going to be giving you a bit more damage, and the durability it gives you is also going to help you survive whenever you E in, especially whenever you're Eing into like 5 people. Even though you could run Font of Life, like Shen's just not really good at using it compared to other supports, because he has to, if you're taunting someone, your allies are probably hitting them at full health anyways. So having more burst damage with the Shield Bash is probably just better. For the third rune, I think that second one's probably going to be giving you most the most value in the bot lane, as you're probably going to be playing into 2 ranged champions. And even if you're not, if you're just playing into a melee support and a ranged ADC, like second one's still going to be giving you pretty good value, as it helps you sustain as you're just existing in the lane. And it will help you, especially whenever you're like jockeying for position, moving up the lane and then seeing if the enemy AD will hit you or not. Second wind just helps offset a lot of that damage. And in combination with your health pots and then the support item early, it's really hard to get pushed out of lane because you just have so much natural sustain. For the secondary runes, for support, I think that Perfect Timing and then Minion Dematerializer is probably your go-to, as you do just get the most utility out of any rune in general as a melee support with Perfect Timing. With Minion Dematerializer, it'll help you get lane control by dematerializing the cannon minions so that you can have push on the wave when you want to. It can also help you get the relic shield stacks in like really hard lanes without having to put yourself at risk at certain lane states. That's a pretty good option. At higher MMRs, I think this is all you'd be looking to run. But you could also run Domination with Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter. For support, it's a bit different to run Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter, because you're not really trading off a lot for it, because you don't need Triumph and Alacrity on support. You don't need the attack speed, and you don't need the HP regen. It's really just about how much impact you can have on the entire map. So Cheap Shot's going to be giving you more damage in combination with Aftershock and Shield Bash, and then Ultimate Hunter is going to be giving you more impact so that your ult can always be up no matter what. And then through having more ults, you are inevitably just winning more games as support. And if you're snowballing, it's still fine to have something like Ultimate Hunter, because even if your ultimate is up and it's not being used in the mid game, if it were to be used, you could just correct a lot of your allies' mistakes more often, and that's inevitably leading to more wins. So until, like, let's say Grandmasters 200, I think Cheap Shot Ultimate Hunter is probably your go-to. But like, let's say above that on every server, Perfect Timing Dematerializer is probably your best bet on Shen support. So, and then for the runes, just double armor, attack speed. In some matchups, you would probably run armor and magic resist, but those would be pretty obvious. Against mixed lanes like Varus, Kog'Maw, you definitely want the magic resist. Against mage supports, you obviously want the magic resist. But if you're just playing into like a CC support and an ADC, the double armor is going to be more useful for you, because once the W is down, you're still going to be able to tank a lot of their damage with the double armor. So yeah, that and the double armor is more useful in the bot lane, because you're tanking more damage from the minions. You're taking 2 auto attacks from 2 champions, maybe the dragon damage, maybe the turret damage, etc. But yeah, that's really all there is to Shen runes. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Conqueror's bad because you don't have AD ratios. You could run Electrocute if you're a psychopath, but you're really like giving up a lot to do so, and I don't really see the value of it other than killing a lane opponent level 3 that wouldn't really expect it. Hella Blades could be an interesting option. I don't think anyone's really explored this. Hella Blades with Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter, and then probably Resolve secondary with Shield Bash and then Bone Plating. In the top lane, this would give you pretty good value into ranged lanes, because whenever you're flashing on them, you need to be killing them. And if you're not, then you're not winning. So against ranged top laners that you can't really lane against, and you're not going to get any good value out of the Resolve tree, this would probably be alright. Champions like Lucian, Callista, champions like that, where yeah, it's just like you're waiting for the first 3 waves, and then once you're level 3 or 4, you just E-flash on top of them, and then if you kill them, you're probably winning the whole lane from there. So that's an interesting cheese option. I'm not too sure about it, as I've never seen it, but I think it would be alright, because again, just adding more burst to a lane like that might be okay, especially in solo queue, where you could just flip the entire matchup out on its head. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Shen top and support runes. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. Subscribe, or else, and by or else, I mean you don't have to do anything, man. It's your life. Just, prove yourself and rise. You know what I'm saying? Lock in Shen top lane, or don't. I don't care. What? I do care. I care a lot. If I don't see you playing Shen, I'm not going to do anything. I don't care what you think.